Hey, everybody. This is Dr. John Shirk, and it is Wednesday morning at 11 a.m. Central Time. And that means this is Brown Bag Lunch, where I give you all I can give you tips and tricks and concepts and paradigms and tactics to optimize the life of technicians, whether you are a technician or whether you employ one and need to retain them. So, what I want to talk about today, by the way, different background this week. I'm traveling this week, working with clients on site. So, that's the reason for that. So, what I want to talk to you today is this is both for techs as well as people who recruit techs. What is your strategy for recruiting? And if you're a technician, what is your strategy for being recruited? And this matters on both sides. So, the paradigm I'm going to give you works both ways. Okay. So, you've heard me say this before. In the old days, 10 years ago, the basic social contract that went into a technician taking a job was that the technician needed a job and the employer had a job to offer. And that dynamic by itself kicked off an employment relationship. It was fairly transactional. It was clear what the whole situation was about. No surprises, right? In the current labor environment, the current labor market, almost all techs already have jobs. So the idea that a tech needs a job is not part of the equation. But they may have certain challenges or problems that they have in their current place that they work that if those problems got solved, they would make a move to another place. Now, on both sides of the equation, there's always the issue of compensation. What's the wage? What are we paying? And that's always part of it. Okay. But there's a larger dynamic of just kind of general satisfaction in life and satisfaction at work that goes into it. So if you're a technician, there are usually one of 5 problems that would trigger your move. And what I want you to think about as a technician is, do I have one of these 5? And if so, do I want to leverage that to make a move somewhere else and, have that be part of a conversation for negotiation with a new employer? If you are an employer, then one of these 5 issues is what will trigger a move of a technician possibly into your company. But you're making a promise to solve a problem and you have to deliver on that promise. Okay. So what are the 5 issues? Number 1, short-term resource needs. This is somebody who in the winter, and say you're in the South and in the winter and there's not a lot of work, they have financial short-term issues. If you're an employer and you want to make this happen, sometimes this is an upfront signing bonus. Sometimes it's just a guarantee of 12 months of 40-hour weeks. But depending on how you have that conversation, short-term resource issues. Another version of this is a technician who's working 100-hour week after 100-hour week, and they just can't go on. They have to take a different job because they just can't live that way. Short-term resources. Number 2 is long-term resources. This is where they're not about to go under, but the status quo is not sustainable. Okay. This may be someone who reaches the end of this kind of 10-year cycle in a residential setting. I'm beginning to call this person 10-year Tim. 10-year Tim has spent about 10 years in residential. He's gone through helper install, running service. And now at about the 10-year mark, he's probably making somewhere around $85,000, but he's now hit a ceiling and he doesn't know where to go from here. He doesn't really want to be a service manager. Where do I go with this? And I'm only 35. So now what? Okay. So that status quo, he's not about to go under, but if you have something to offer that person, that's a reason for making a change. It's also any other version of status quo. It could be some benefits issues. It could be whatever it is about the status quo. It could be even their location that they have to make a change. They just can't live with the status quo. All right. Number 3 are quality relationships. They want to have if where they are feels like we're not really a team. It's kind of chippy where we work. Guys are kind of on each other. Everybody's kind of too stressed out and it doesn't feel like a team. right? They want to work somewhere. The relationships are great. And they feel like they're on a team together, that the relationships have to be resolved somehow. Okay. That's a third one. The fourth one is status or respect. A lot of technicians that I talk to, this is a big one. They feel like they've been there a long time. They know what they're doing. And a dispatcher is pushing them around, or service manager is pushing them around. Or one technician I talked to recently, they had metrics they were supposed to sell to in the field. And so when someone would miss their number, the owner of the company put what he called the wall of shame. And then an 8x10 of everybody in the company. And if you missed your numbers, you got your picture put up on the wall of shame, right? That's a place that somebody would like to leave there because they're getting disrespected. Okay. So that's another reason. Now, if you hear, like I said at the beginning, if you want to offer status and respect to someone, you got to be willing to deliver on that promise. So what does that mean to you? What does that look like to you, service manager, owner? What does that look like to you to offer respect to a technician? You got to work that out. You may even need to talk to your technicians. This kind of stuff I do in a consulting world. What is talking to the technicians? What is this? What does respect look like here? How do you know if you're getting it? How do you know if you're not? All right. The fifth one then is what I call the pleasure of expertise. That this technician is good at what they do. They know they're good at what they do, but for whatever reason, the way this whole thing is set up, they're not allowed to do it, whether it's a certain process or for whatever reason. They feel like I just don't get to do what I'm good at every day. And so I need to make a change so that I can, right? One of those 5 reasons is normally why a tech leaves. One of those 5 reasons is normally why a tech makes that change. Now, like I said, I don't want to poo-poo the issue of wages. You know, you come along, a guy's making $23 an hour and somebody offers him $35 an hour, he'll make a move, right? The problem is that kind of competition isn't ultimately sustainable, because at $35 technician, it's only a matter of time until you have $35 worth of bills, right? And then that's not going to keep happening over and over again. That's not your path to $50 an hour. Probably not. Okay. So if one of those things pops up, by all means, make the change. Also realize, though, that you can be very unhappy making $35 an hour if some of these other issues are not met. If the relationships are chippy, if you feel disrespected, that $35 an hour is going to feel less and less valuable, or the 42 or whatever the number is. Okay. So those are the 5, the short-term needs, long-term needs, relationships, status, respect, and the pleasure of expertise. If you are an owner and you're trying to recruit, stop offering jobs. Just stop. It doesn't, that strategy just doesn't work anymore. Pick one of those 5, put that at the top of your job post on Indeed.com, and find people who actively want to solve that problem, and then recruit them in and solve that problem for them. And they will come work for you, and they will be happy working for you. Okay, that's it. My name's Dr. John Shirk. If you want to talk some more, especially on this topic, this is the number one thing I'm moving into next year, is the issue of recruiting. I've built a model. I've got clients now where I'm helping them with recruiting. If you want to talk more about it, reach out and we can talk some more. Again, my name's Dr. John Shirk, and I'll see you next week.